Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Swasti, I'm 15, and this is my place to talk about politics, policy, human rights, identity, and everything more. Today's video, we're diving into the history of transgender people, how they've always existed, but how they've been erased, and how now they're finally rising up and being seen. Please watch till the end. I promise it's not just a boring history lesson, it's about real people, real pain, and real pride. Start with something most history books would never tell you. Transgender people have existed across cultures for thousands of years. For example, the earliest being in ancient Mesopotamia, where the priests of the goddess Inanna were often what we now describe as trans or gender non-conforming. They were honored, not rejected. In India, the Hijra community, which includes trans and intersex people, dates back at least 4,000 years, and in ancient texts like Kama Sutra, they were recognized and respected rather than belittled. And in Native American cultures, there are people known as Two Spirit, individuals who embody both masculine and feminine spirits, and they were held to important spiritual and cultural roles in their tribes. So when people say that being trans is a new thing or a trend, that's just wrong. It's actually colonialism that erased these identities that have existed for centuries. When European empires took over lands, they forced their binary gender system onto others, man or women, nothing in between. Cultures that once respected gender diversity were silenced. The truth is, a lot of trans people were erased from history, not just ignored, but actively erased. In Nazi Germany, one of the first things the Nazis did was burn down the Institute for Sexual Wissenschaft in Berlin. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It was run by Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld, who advocated for transgender rights in the early 1900s and even performed gender affirming surgeries. In that fire, they destroyed medical records, research, and the identities of real trans people. Even in the 1900s, trans people were there. Christine Jorgensen became one of the first Americans to publicly transition in the 1950s, but instead of being respected, she was turned into a media circus. And this erasure didn't just happen in history, it's happening now, where trans people are excluded from school curriculums, banned from sports, or misgendered in death. And it reminds you of how concerning it is that something that once happened during Nazi Germany is repeating itself in 2025. But even through the erasure, trans people have always fought back no matter what. In 1969, at the Stonewall riots, which helped kickstart the LGBTQIA rights movement, two transgender women of color, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, were at the front lines. In the decades since, trans people have been changing the world. Laverne Cox became the first openly trans person nominated for an Emmy. Elliot Page came out and shared his story with the world. Alok Menon, a non-binary poet and speaker, used their voice to educate millions. And Alex Kansani became the first trans woman to be awarded Model of the Year. And even on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, young trans creators are telling their stories, educating, crying, laughing, existing. That visibility, it saves lives. But the rise also brings backlash. In 2025 alone, hundreds of anti-trans laws have been proposed or passed by the Trump administration, especially targeting young people. Here are some facts we should all know about the trans community. Trans youth are 4 times more likely to experience depression or attempt suicide because of the ridicule they receive after transitioning by the public or the hate that they may receive by their close ones. But having one supportive adult can reduce that by 40%. Trans people are not confused. Gender identity is real and valid, but colonialism just forced that identity away from them, causing us humans to believe otherwise. And being trans is not new, it's existed throughout most of history centuries ago, and it's natural, it's human. It even exists in science through intersex people. And it breaks my heart when I see trans kids getting bullied, banned, or blamed. I've seen it in school, online, and even in families. But the beautiful thing about it is that I've also seen love. I've seen people transition and finally feel at peace, and I've seen allies speak up, especially in this generation. You don't have to be trans to care, you just have to be human. So please feel free to subscribe if you want more honest takes that are factually correct and based on emotion and facts on things that matter. And remember, history isn't just what's in your school textbooks, it's what we choose to remember and what we choose to prioritize. Bye for now.